Do you know which Facebook ad setting is the most important and which option you should choose to get the best possible results for your business and the Facebook ad strategy you are using? Well, by the end of this video, you will. And if there's one thing that's more important than anything else when it comes to Facebook ads, it's getting this right. Now, most people think that the most important part of a Facebook ad campaign, the most important setting, is the campaign objective. And that's not true, not anymore. Because you can undo a lot of the good work you did selecting the right campaign objective, which is still important, but you can completely undo that by selecting the wrong performance goal. You can get your campaign to optimize in a completely different way to what you intend, and that's obviously going to have massive negative impacts on your results. Now, the best option for performance goal differs depending on your business, depending on the Facebook ad strategy you're using, and depending on which campaign objective you're selecting, which obviously factors into the Facebook ad strategy you're using. So in this video, I'm going to run through the different campaign types. We're going to have a look at the performance goals. I'm going to give you a recommendation for each, and then explain why you might want to differ from the default recommendation depending on which strategy you're using and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so I'm over here in an example Facebook ad account. I'm in Ads Manager. I'm going to go ahead and click on this create button, and then we're going to go ahead and select awareness. So if I click continue, and I'm going to ignore all the other settings and just jump to the ad set level, and then we take a look at the performance goal for this campaign that's set up with the awareness objective. Like I said, you'll have different performance goals depending on the different campaign objectives you select. So the campaign objective matters, but like I said, the performance goal is really what determines how your Facebook and Instagram ads are optimized. So here we've got the default performance goal of maximize reach of ads. If I click on the little arrow, we can see other options we've got. So we've got maximize number of impressions. Now the difference between those two is that reach is people, impressions is the amount of time seen. So you could have multiple impressions for the same person. So if you go with maximize number of impressions, you'll probably have more times your ads are seen, but it'll be spread over less people than if you maximize reach of ads. Difference between those two. Maximize ad recall lift. You see Meta say, we'll try and show your ads to people who are likely to remember seeing them. I've always been a little bit skeptical over how Meta can actually go ahead and measure that. Like, how would you know if someone can remember seeing my ad or not? Very difficult thing to track. And then you've got video view goals. So you've got maximize through play views. So that's trying to put your ad in front of people that are most likely to watch the entire video, or 15 seconds if it's longer than 15 seconds, or you can maximize 2-second continuous video play. So just, I want people to have watched at least a tiny chunk of this video, and you can optimize for these. So obviously you can see that these video view goals are going to be far more important if you are actually advertising using videos, not really going to apply if you're using other ad creative types. But I do think the majority of the time you're using awareness, maximize reach of ads makes the most sense. Now, typically we only really use the awareness objective when we're using my omnipresent content strategy. I'll include a link to the video description to a video on the omnipresent content strategy, how to set up, really good for high ticket businesses that need to do a lot of warming up and convincing before people are ready to become clients, customers, etc. So we use awareness for that, and mostly that alone, and we're going to maximize reach of ads. That's what we're going to go ahead and do. Now, there may well be scenarios where you want to go ahead and maximize through play views, things like that. We would typically be more likely to use the engagement objective, and when I get to the engagement objective, I'll explain that for video views and how that works and how you might want to use it. So I would say the vast majority of the time that we're using the awareness objective, we're going to maximize reach of ads and go with the default here, and that's typically what I recommend. Okay, so that's awareness. Let's jump back out to the campaign level and go ahead and create a new campaign and click traffic. Okay, so if I click continue on this, I'm going to go with a manual traffic campaign so I can demonstrate the performance goal options. So if we come through here and I've just jumped to the ad set level because again, we've got the performance goal. Now, one of the things, and this is going to come up multiple times, is that if you change the conversion location or the destination where people are sent, that will change your performance goal. And I'll demonstrate that in a second. First, I want to talk about, let's assume that you're running a traffic campaign, sending people through to a website, right? Which is typically what most people do when they're running traffic campaigns. Now, the default here is maximize number of link clicks. A better optimization is maximize number of landing page views. That's a better performance goal. Now, the difference between the two, you might think, well, surely those are the same things. They're not. Link clicks are someone clicked on the ad to come through. Landing page views are they clicked and waited for the landing page to load. And what that sort of filters out are a lot of accidental clicks, because of course if you accidentally click on an ad, you're going to quickly hit the back button, you're not going to wait for the landing page to load. So typically a landing page view is seen as a more valuable thing to have than a link click. Now, in order to be able to optimize for maximize number of landing page views, you need to have the Metal Pixel installed on your website. You need to be able to track the landing page view load. And that sort of gets into the question of, well, if you can do that, if you can track what people are doing on your website, why are you using traffic in the first place? Why not use sales? Why not use leads, which we'll talk about later on. Now, there are specific scenarios where you would want to use landing page views. You can track it, but you can't track the eventual conversion. So let's say people are clicking through on your ad, coming through to a landing page, and then from there going on to like a third-party website where you can't track whether they buy, become a lead, book a ticket for the event, etc. Okay, we would use that. If we're sending people directly to a blog post, sometimes we'll use traffic because we just want people to read the article, read the blog post. We think that'll help later down the line. It's not something we do often, by the way, but occasionally that'll be done, and then we'll be able to track the landing page view, so we will go ahead and do that. If, however, we're sending people directly to somewhere where we can't track the conversion, we're going to go with maximize number of link clicks, because we simply can't track the landing page views. So there are, that's a better optimization, landing page views, but I would say we rarely are able to use that when we're going with the traffic objective, because that's why we're using the traffic objective, because we can't track either. We've got some other goals here. We've got maximize daily unique reach. We've got maximize number of conversations. So this is going to matter depending on matter more depending on your conversion location. Maximize number of impressions. Again, that's going to operate similarly to how an awareness campaign did. So we're rarely going to use these options for traffic. With the traffic objective, you do have options to send people to other destinations though. So instead of sending a website, you could, for example, be looking to send traffic you'll see here through to Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp, basically be able to start a conversation with people quite simply. And if we go ahead and select the traffic goals, you can see that maximize the number of landing page views, for example, has now disappeared, unsurprisingly. We've still got the other optimizations. We can maximize number of conversations. Interestingly, you can see here that the default is still maximize the number of link clicks. You might be thinking, well, surely it would be maximize number of conversations if you're sending people to WhatsApp or Messenger, Instagram, etc. But this kind of gets to, we wouldn't typically use the traffic objective if we're trying to send people through to WhatsApp and get the conversion there, or send them through to Messenger. We'd be using other campaign objectives, okay? So I just wanted to demonstrate that. Here's an interesting example where using the traffic objective, you can send people through directly to Instagram or Facebook with the idea of getting more Instagram followers, getting more Facebook followers. You could be using something called the Instagram profile method, where you send people through to your Instagram profile, and your Instagram profile kind of acts as like the sales page of the landing page. It's got story highlights with lots of information to help convince people to convert. It's got pinned posts that helps with that sort of thing. That's a strategy that can work well. So for that, you can see, interestingly, the performance goal is locked at maximize number of Instagram profile visits. Again, that's assuming we're going to go ahead and use Instagram as the option. As we go further through the ad, we can see we've got identity here. We're sending people through to the Instagram profile has been ticked. If we go ahead and add on Facebook page, and you can see again, the performance goal is still locked at maximize number of Instagram profile and Facebook page visits. If I just wanted to send to Facebook, I can do it that way, right? So this is the idea here, mostly, is let's get larger followings on our Instagram profile, our Facebook page. You can select both, one of them, and optimize the campaign that way, and you can see that your performance goal is locked. Now, this is quite a specific use case for using traffic, being able to get more followers. It is something that we do, by the way. I've talked before about priming Instagram accounts, priming Facebook pages, particularly with certain businesses. If you don't have hardly any followers, it's not a good look if people come through and check you out and you're advertising something that your credibility really matters in, and there's 45 followers and there's not been any posts. It's like, it's good to have something going on for that credibility, for that verification process that some of your prospects will go through before they work with you. So being able to send some people through to an Instagram profile or Facebook page to get some followers is often a good idea. Okay, so that one's a little bit more complicated, but I wanted to just cover traffic there. We'll get back to the video in a second. Before we do, I just want to quickly let you know about my mentorship program. Now, with my mentorship program, me and my team mentor people daily to help them and get the best possible Facebook ad results. We've actually had some amazing results recently from some of our mentees. We'll pop them up on screen right now. In fact, 82% of people that join my mentorship program see a notable improvement in their Facebook ads return on ad spend within just 30 days of joining. And that's a stat that I'm really proud of. There is a link in the video description below. You can click on that, come through to a page on our website and book in a free, no obligation call with one of my team members to find out more about it and see if it would be a really good fit for you. Hopefully we get a chance to work together. Okay, let's move on to the next campaign objective and the performance goal options that are available. So we jump back out to the campaign level. I'm not the campaign level, ad set level. Jump back out to the campaign level, click create, and then we're going to go ahead and select engagement. Once again, manual, and then I'm going to jump to the ad set level for engagement. And now we can see the various options in our performance goal. Performance goal is just down here. It absolutely depends on the conversion location. So the default here, as I've created this engagement campaign, this doesn't always happen by the way, but often will, is the default conversion locations is message destinations. The idea is, let's go ahead and start a conversation quickly and easily through one of the Meta apps to therefore progress through to a customer. So we've got Messenger, we've got Instagram, WhatsApp's just not set up because this is an example ad account, but we can send through to WhatsApp as the different message destinations. Now, when you have message destinations selected as your conversion location, you can see that the performance goal is maximize number of conversations. Makes sense. And that's when I was talking about the previous objectives around having maximize number of conversations options. If we're looking to do that, we're typically going to go with engagement or potentially even a conversion-based campaign objective if we're able to track that. So whilst that is an option elsewhere, we're more likely to do it here. If we go ahead and change the conversion location. So for example, sometimes we might just want a ton of video views. So we could go ahead and select on your ad, engagement type video views. You can have other types of engagement. And then you'll see just here that the performance goal matches the engagement type, right? So we've got that through play option that we talked about when we went through the awareness options, or maximize 2-second continuous video plays. Now, if for some reason you just want as many video views as possible, that's all you want. You're not necessarily looking forward to people to go through and become a lead or purchase or anything like that. I just want tons of people to watch this. Perhaps it's an entertainment piece of content, for example. The maximize through play views is absolutely what I'd go with. We can change that. So let's say we did want lots of engagement on our ad, but it wasn't a video. We actually wanted post engagement. So we wanted to build up lots of social proof. We wanted comments, shares, things like that. Again, we select post engagement and you'll see that the performance goal changes. So maximize engagement with a post. That's pretty obviously the one you want to go with in that scenario. You do have other options that are going to make it act more like an awareness campaign, not what I'd recommend. We can go with event responses, reminder set. There are some other options on your ad. But again, if you think about the conversion location, therefore dictating different things. Engagement campaigns, are we likely to use that, sending people through to a website? No. Once you select that, you have various different options, as you would expect, landing page views, link clicks, default being conversions, but if we were going to be sending people through to a website, we're very rarely going to use the engagement objective anyway. So this is just not really a scenario that would come up. We can also go ahead and select Facebook page. Now this is a little bit different to how it looked through traffic. So remember, when we were sending people through with the traffic objective through to our Facebook page, that was to send them there. Here we can be a little bit more specific through the engagement objective and actually optimize for Facebook page likes, Facebook page followers. If you select Facebook page as your conversion location as part of an engagement campaign, your performance goal is then locked at maximize number of page likes. So I talked about previously with traffic that you can send people through to an Instagram profile and a Facebook page to get followers. If you want followers specifically on your Facebook page, you're better off going with this setup here as opposed to doing it through traffic. If you want to do the equivalent with Instagram, you still have to do that through the traffic objective. So I know some of these things are a little bit complicated. I'm trying to cover a lot of options here that may come up for you as an advertiser, so you can be like, aha, I'm looking to do that, therefore this is the option that I'm going to go ahead and use. Okay, right, let's go ahead and close this down because we've talked through the various engagement options, what you'd want to use and when. And now, I need to jump out to the campaign level again. And now let's move on. And so, well, actually, I'm going to select app first, and then I'm going to talk about leads. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue here, manual app campaign again, so that we can take a look at this. And then we're going to jump to the ad set level. Now, app campaign setups are a bit different to other campaign setups because of where you're sending people through. There are all sorts of different settings and things like that. Not going to worry about those. I want to talk about the performance goal here, right? So we've got a few interesting things that you can do if you are promoting an app when it comes to performance goal. The default here has been maximize number of link clicks, and that's because we don't have an app set up within this ad account. So Meta's like, well, we can't optimize for anything a bit more juicy than that, a bit more interesting, because we haven't got an app set up. But if you do, Meta's going to default to the app promotion goals most likely. So you can go with maximize number of app installs. Fairly self-explanatory what that is. I want as many people who see this ad to click through and install the app. And that's often where a lot of app advertisers stop when it comes to their Meta advertising. But often it can be better to maximize number of app events. So let's say, for example, you have a premium option within your app, or you sell something access related or whatever. You sell something in your app. That's how you monetize. Well, often it's better to go for maximize number of app events. Now, you can still run your ads. You can either run them to people who have already installed your app to try and get them to engage again and then purchase, some sort of in-app purchase type thing. Or you can advertise, you can optimize for the performance goal of maximize number of app events to people, cold audiences that haven't installed your app. And what this will often do is you won't get as many installs because people will click through, they'll install, and then this setup is going to optimize a campaign to get people that will then sign up for the in-app purchase, for the premium membership or whatever it is, right? But you will often see a better return on ad spend with this performance goal. You don't get as many installs as optimizing for app installs, but you get a better return on ad spend because a higher percentage of the people that install go ahead and purchase, make an in-app purchase, sign up to the premium option if you maximize the number of app events. Now, you have to have everything set up, so you need to have your app event set up. And like I said, this is an example ad account that doesn't have any app associated, but I wanted to highlight that because that's an interesting option for app-based businesses. And no matter which performance goal you use, one thing that is absolutely essential is that you have accurate data so that you can see exactly how your Facebook ads are performing and optimize them properly. Hyros is the best tracking and attribution software for Facebook and Instagram ads. It's a software that all the big players, including myself, use. I use it to track the results that I generate from my own ads. I also use it for all my organic content as well, which is really useful. So if someone comes through and books a call for our done for you services, for example, I can see exactly where they came from with a lot of accuracy, and that allows me to make decisions in my business, which is really, really helpful. And let me quickly show you how important this is. So I'm in my Hyros dashboard. I've isolated one of our meta ad campaigns and I've created a report for it so we can see the data and you can take a look at this. So this campaign spent just under £2,000, generated £15,000 in revenue. But here's the really important bit: reported versus revenue. And in this column, we can see £12,000. Now what that means is that out of the £15,000 that this campaign has actually generated, Hyros has been able to report on the full 15,000, £12,000 of which Meta was not originally able to see. So if we're just looking within our Meta ad account, not using Hyros, we would have seen that £3,000 of revenue was generated from this campaign, and that is not true at all. That is a much, much lower ROAS number than the actual £15,000 of revenue that was generated. For a number of years now, Meta's ad tracking capabilities have not been as accurate as they once were because all sorts of privacy regulations have come into effect, and it's only heading that way. It's only becoming more and more difficult to get accurate data and track our results as we need to be able to do. This is a relatively extreme case, and the reason why is because Meta has a 7-day maximum attribution window, and this is an ad campaign that's retargeting for one of our services that people usually take a lot longer than 7 days to make a decision on. So if someone clicks on an ad, they often won't convert within 7 days. Meta's simply not able to see that data, and that's where Hyros comes in. The important thing is that you need accurate data, and Hyros takes care of that. So if you want to get better results from your Facebook ads without actually having to touch your ads, go ahead and sign up to Hyros. There is a link in the video description. Okay, let's go ahead and close that down, and then we're going to go ahead and move on to leads. I keep doing that, getting out of the wrong stage. So let's go ahead and click on this create button, select leads, and I've left leads and sales to do together and at the end because they're by far the most common campaign objectives that we use as an agency, and I know my audience uses as well. So let's jump to the ad set level and let's talk about performance goal. So the default conversion location, remember this is important, is instant forms. So not clicking through to a website, not clicking through to Messenger or anything like that. Just click on the ad, present it with instant form, fill out your information, inquire about the service, whatever it is. Now, if we go down to the performance goal, we can see we've got maximize number of leads. We've also got maximize number of conversion leads. Now, you have to have your CRM integrated and tracking set up to be able to track conversion leads. Not that many advertisers do, but if you do have that set up, great, because you're not just optimizing for who becomes a lead via an instant form, but who then goes on to convert. Has to be within attribution windows, can all get a little bit complicated. I will have more content on conversion leads at some point because I think that's a valuable thing to talk about. But if you have that set up, go with that option. A lot of advertisers don't, so it's fine to stick to maximize number of leads for now. And you actually see Meta's talking about optimized ad set for high quality leads. Basically explaining what I just did. Now, if we go ahead and select website, which is one of the, I'm not going to go through every single option here because we talked about a lot of Messenger and WhatsApp and things like that in other campaign objective options. But if I go ahead and select website as the conversion location here, and we see that the performance goal options change significantly. And this is one of those times where Meta advertisers can really mess things up if they're not careful. So they're generating leads with their Facebook and Instagram ads, and they've selected the leads campaign objective. Well done, you've ticked the first box, that's good. And here is where you could just butcher it. So we've gone with leads. The default here is maximize number of conversions. That's absolutely fine. I'm happy with that. That's going to get you as many leads as possible. A better option though would be to go with maximize value of conversions once you've got that set up. So in this ad account, again, it's an example, we don't have that set up, but I can explain how that works. Let's assume that you offer multiple different services and you're generating leads via your website for those different services. Now, most likely, some services are worth more to your business than others. Therefore, if you generate a lead for one service, that lead might be worth 3 or 4 times a lead for another service. If you go with maximize number of conversions blankly, then Meta will just try and get you as many leads as possible, as many of that conversion event as possible, whatever it is you're optimizing for. But if you go with maximized value of conversions, and Meta knows, and you can set this up, you can go through my Pixel tutorial that shows you how to set up value associated with different conversions. Then what Meta can do is they can go, oh, okay, let's put a higher weighting. Let's be willing to spend more for this type of conversion over this type of conversion because we know it's worth more money. So if you can get that set up, absolutely go ahead and go with maximize value of conversions. That's the best option. But I'm mostly happy with you using either of these two options for whenever you're using the leads campaign objective as your performance goal. There are other goals that you can use once you select website. You can go with landing page views, you can go with link clicks, you can go with maximize daily unique reach, maximize number of impressions. Now, even though you've selected the leads campaign objective, if you go with landing page views or link clicks, that in my mind is going to function exactly as a traffic campaign. It's not going to optimize for people who actually become a lead, or even better, the more valuable leads you generate. It's not going to optimize for that. It's going to optimize for landing page views, link clicks, which is basically a traffic campaign. If you go with unique reach, number of impressions, that's optimizing just like an awareness campaign. So you might as well have just used awareness. And I really want to get this across because it's easy to think, well, I selected the right campaign objective, it will therefore optimize for leads. No, not if you come in and select some of these other options. It won't necessarily do that, okay? So there are some other options to quickly touch on within the leads campaign objective. So we can select Messenger, for example, and the options here as performance goal are slightly different to if we were selecting Messenger as the conversion location via the engagement objective. And this is a bit more restrictive, so you can see the performance goal is locked at maximize number of leads. That makes sense. You'll see a similar thing if we select Instagram as an example. WhatsApp, there's a bit more flexibility. You know, we've got maximize number, well, not flexibility is not the right word, but we've got maximize number of conversations as opposed to the next step. Again, I'm getting warnings because we don't have WhatsApp set up on this ad account. So you will see that even if you think, okay, I've got, this is my conversion location, this is how I've set things up, whether you're using the lead campaign objective or say the engagement campaign objective, that will affect what performance goal you use. But just always keep in mind, it's the performance goal that determines how the campaign will be optimized, what Meta will do to get you the results that you want. And it's the campaign objective and the conversion location that determines which performance goals you can use. So just wanted to quickly go ahead and touch on those. Right, let's minimize that down and then let's talk about the final campaign objective. So if I go ahead and create a new campaign and select sales and then come in here, again, we're going to use manual so I can talk through the options. And then I'm going to jump to the ad set level. And here we've got our conversion location and performance goal, which we now know work in connection with each other, right? So the default here is website, send people through to your website and get them to go ahead and convert. And the default performance goal is maximize number of conversions. Again, we don't have it set up within this ad account because it's an example ad account, but I'd much rather you went with maximize value of conversions. And I actually think that it's much more important with a sales campaign than it is with a leads campaign, because with a leads campaign, often it's quite difficult to track and be able to know the value of different leads and things like that. It's still a step you should take, but it's absolutely essential that you do it if you're using the sales objective. Let's say you're running ads to an e-commerce store. It's very easy, if your pixel's integrated with, say, a Shopify store, for that data to be fed back in your ad account and Meta to know exactly, okay, this customer bought $60 worth of stuff, this customer bought $150 worth of stuff. Right, let's put ads in front of people that are more similar to the $150 customer as opposed to the $60 customer. That is going to improve your return on ad spend. It would be the default in this ad account if we had this set up and linked and things like that, but we don't. But definitely go with maximize value of conversions. If you're operating using the sales objective, most likely sending people through to an e-commerce store. If you just sell the one product, you can go with maximize number of conversions because it doesn't make any difference, right? All customers are worth the same. And again, watch out for landing page views, link clicks, unique reach, impressions, because just like with the leads campaign objective, you can come through and mess up your optimization and make it function just like a traffic campaign or make it function just like an awareness campaign if you go ahead and select one of those. So really be careful with that. You do have other options. You can see these are grayed out. We've got app, website and app because there's not an app set up, but we've already covered app options, performance goal options as part of the app-based campaign objective. We've got message destinations as well. So if I go ahead and click on this, and we can see that we've got, just like we've got before, we've only got 2 of the 3 because, like I said, WhatsApp isn't set up here. Of the 3 message destinations, you can see the performance goal is locked at maximize number of conversations. Again, if we're looking to start simply conversations via these platforms, we're more likely to use the engagement objective, so just not something that comes up all that much. And I haven't really touched on calls that much going through this because I know that I've polled my audience on this and very few people use these. I will be talking about generating calls directly from campaigns in a separate video where I'll cover that because obviously it has popped up a few times as part of the conversion location options, which impacts performance goal. But with a sales campaign, which is probably the single most common campaign that you guys will be using, it's actually really simple performance goal. Go with website, maximize number of conversion value, maximize value of conversion, sorry, make sure you get that set up and you're good to go. And this is what we're going to be using as the conversion location nearly every time we're using the sales objective, and I imagine you will be the same as well. And another thing that I want to mention around performance goals is that if in doubt, go with the default option. Now, I've run through lots of different scenarios here, so hopefully you can go through and see exactly which one you should use. And there are absolutely times where we deviate from the default option. You'll have seen that going through this video, right? Where I've gone, okay, in this scenario, use this, but actually change it for this, don't use this, that sort of stuff. But if you are confused and you're like, I just don't know which way to go here, going with the default will normally mean you're okay, provided you have selected the right campaign objective to begin with. So obviously make sure that you get that right as well. But if you've gotten that right when it comes to performance goal, the default will normally mean you're okay, even if it's not quite optimal. For example, changing from maximize number of leads to conversion leads or something along those lines. Okay, but I just wanted to highlight that and say, if in doubt, it's always good to have a simple, easy thing to remember, and that's to go with the default. Now, you know exactly what you should be selecting for your performance goal. We've been through that, but there are obviously a whole load of other things that you need to get right to get the best possible Facebook and Instagram ad results. And I show you all those other things you need to get right, all the settings that you need to use in this video here. In that video, I walk you through an entire campaign creation process from scratch, very much beginner friendly, but covers all the details that even intermediate and advanced Facebook advertisers might have gone, oh, I'm not sure what I should use there, not sure what I should use there. Go through the video, you'll find out, make sure everything's right and get the best results possible. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check it out, and I'll see you soon.